Hi, I'm Reva with Quality Sewing and Vacuum, and today I'm going to give you some tips on how to do a good cover hem. So the first thing you need is a cover hem machine. If you have a machine that has 4 threads only, it's probably just a serger, but if you have 5 or more, you probably can do a cover hem. So I'm going to do a quick test on my fabric because it's always good to make sure that you have your tensions and all your settings correct. So let's do a test on our fabric. So you want to make sure you do that test stitch out on the fabric you're going to use. So let me put the presser foot down and let's give it a test. What you're looking for is for the fabric to lay flat and not be puckered. If it is, work with your differential feed and get the settings just right. Now, if you are sewing on a flat piece of fabric, you don't want to just sew completely off the fabric. Have a little piece of cheater fabric that you can put in here so you're not sewing just on air. However, if you're working with something like this that has a continuous loop to it, you can't sew off onto anything. So let's take a look at how you're going to release your stitches from your cover hem. So what I'm going to do is raise my foot, and I'm going to come in here and grasp my fabric, and I grab the thread and kind of pinch between the threads. Then I'm going to lower my needle down and then back up, and you'll feel it click. There we go. Now, when I start to pull, I want to put my thumb and finger on those threads and then give it a pull, because if you just pull, it's going to unwind itself. And then what we're going to do is cut our threads, and we're going to flip it over, and then we want to make sure that we get this all set up. Let me get this as our beginning threads. So can you see the little loop here? I'm going to pull that, and that pulled the red one out. So now I have the red, and then I'm going to come over here to my blue, or my black actually, and I'm going to get that little loop. And I'm just using the tip of my seam ripper, and I'm not cutting. I don't want to cut the threads. I just wanted to pull them out. Now what we're going to do is take our threads, and one will be closer to another, so the red and the yellow can go together, and then the black will be all by himself, and we will tie a nice little knot, and this will secure these threads from unraveling from the backside. So we don't want to just clip them on the front, because if we do, it will just unravel, because a chain stitch links and it would just go, go, go. So now it's all secured and it's stable and it will not go anywhere there. So now let's take a look at how we will do this with a sleeve or something else like that. So when you're working with a tubed type item, you may have one seam, you may have 2 seams, but when you start stitching, you really don't want to start on a seam. Start either before the seam or after the seam. Take a look at your seam allowance and find out how wide this is. So this nubbin on the foot here is in line with my far left needle, and this nubbin here is in line with that needle. So the goal would be to have the raw edge in between those two. So it looks like if I line up just with the edge of my hem right on that little screw hole, we're good to go. You also may consider, when you're stitching your hem, if you're doing a sleeve, start it at the underarm. If you are sewing a pant leg, start it on the inseam. So that way it's not visible where you start and you stop. Now what you're going to get here is, when we get back to the beginning, we're actually going to overlap our original stitches. So it's going to look seamless, which is really, really pretty cool. So as I get it closer here, and now that the threads are where I can see them, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to pull the red to the back, and I'm going to pull the black to the back. I had short little threads, didn't I? And now I don't even have to worry about those, because I'm going to overlap and sew over the top of those. So we're just going to stitch around. And then as I come up where I can actually position my hem stitching, I'm going to be looking at the nubbins on my foot, and I am going to line those up. Now I can see that my seam is starting to push a little bit, so I'm going to raise up my foot and lower it back down, so that way it released that little shift on there. And I'm going to do it again because I need to get over that. And now we'll just stitch right up. And hopefully I can line up my threads right on top of each other. Now, of course, you're going to be using matching thread, so you're not going to see the difference as drastically as we are here. So again, I'm going to grab on it, give it a little pull, go down, and then back up, and you can feel it release or click off of those loopers. And then we'll give it a little tug, and we'll cut our threads, and then we would pull to the back. Now, when we come back here, here's the little ones that we already did, right? I'm just going to cut those off because they're run over. They're locked in. And now I'm just going to take the one thread that's ended here, give that a little bit of a tug, and there's my red thread right down in here. Here he comes. Come on, red thread. Oh, there's the black one. Let's grab the black one because he's hanging out there so I can see him really well. So we're going to pull him through, and then there's my red one. I can see it better now. Just pull it back, and then we're going to tie a knot, and then you have a nice join for your hem, and you're going to have a really splendid looking garment. Pause front. So enjoy using your Coverhem machine to make beautiful hems and a professional looking project.